dance with. So welcome, welcome, welcome to Clear Your Money Shadows through the 8 Money Archetypes with Susan Shloss. Before I introduce Susan, I just really want to appreciate you for being the kind of women who are dedicated to really making a shift in your money practices and in your ability to generate money and make wise decisions with your money, because Susan and I believe that when we, women light leaders, transform our relationship with money, we are then freer to help create a more equitable world. So just by being here together, we are collectively creating new supportive narratives around having money and being wise with our money as women healers. So I'm Jessica Hadari. I'm the organizer of the Rise Sisterhood and the Women Light Leaders Network, which has been a sanctuary of networking events and community for women healers for nearly 20 years. And I also run the Feminine Frequency Festival, which puts a spotlight on the wisdom of thousands of women across the globe. And I am your host for this event and for the entire Money Elevation series. And it is my pleasure to introduce to you this incredible human being, Susan Shloss. She is a certified money coach. She also has a history as a very successful bookkeeper, owning a bookkeeping firm. And I'll let her introduce kind of what she does and how she supports women. But I just wanted to speak to the heart, from my heart, because I've known Susan for years. And I just wanted to say that whenever I see Susan's name pop up in my schedule, and, because we sometimes have phone chats with each other, whenever I see her name, my heart truly skips a beat with joy. She is one of the most delightful human beings to spend time with. We actually have the pleasure of taking walks in nature together sometimes because we live close to one another. And I'm so honored to call her not only a dear business sister and colleague, but a friend. And her come from in her business and her stand for social justice and weaving the essence of philanthropy in with these money conversations, I just find truly refreshing and heartwarming. And I'm so glad that you get the pleasure and the honor of being able to connect with Susan today and receive her wisdom. So without further ado, Susan, welcome, welcome. The floor is yours.
Jessica, thank you so much for that warm introduction. I feel so touched. And the social justice piece is very, very close to my heart. It's something that I am very wanting to bring into this work. And with that said, I welcome you all. I really invite an inclusive environment today of all of our backgrounds, our ethnicities, wherever we are in the world, and our stage of life, our financial status, and also including everything that's happening inside. So whatever you're feeling today, you're welcome. All of you is welcome here today. Money can be a vulnerable topic for people, and it's not something that is easy to talk about in most settings. So I love creating a safe and sacred container where we can look at this area of our lives. And I find that spiritual women have so much, spiritual women leaders have so much richness, so much to offer, so much accomplishment in their lives. And oftentimes this area of money can be challenging. Regardless of how much you have, it can bring up anxiety, or it can bring up feelings of fear of losing it, fear of how to take care of it. And I went through a stage of that last year because I received some money after my mother passed away. And I had to go through a lot of self inquiry and just noticing that I was pulling away from making money. I wasn't caring about it that much. And part of that was my grieving process. So stages in our life, changes in our financial status can bring up different feelings and different money archetypes. We're going to be diving into the money archetypes today. And what's beautiful about archetypes, as you probably know, is that they're universal energies. And they can bring some objectivity to whatever patterns we have. So it can really help to dissipate some shame that might be there. That's a common feeling that can come up around money patterns. So I love using these money archetypes, and I want to give credit to Deborah Price, where I got my certification, and she's the one who created these 8 money archetypes. She has the Money Coaching Institute, where I'm also now studying to be a master coach to train other coaches. And I really want to wish for each of you, and it's what I intend for women who join my Money Wisdom Circle, that you follow your passion and live abundantly so that you can find ease, joy, and confidence with your relationship with money, and to be able to have those ripples that Jessica was talking about, that we can change the world that we're living in through our own individual shifts, and to be able to give to the causes and people that you care about. Prosperity is about much more than money. It's about our time. It's about our relationships. It's about our creative expression. And money is a powerful vehicle for transformation, because it is an energy that can really shift depending on where we are in our own frequency. So it can bring us back to looking at our own state and what's happening inside, as well as helping us to engage in a powerful way, a more masculine way in the world. I love bringing together the masculine and the feminine in this money conversation. The feminine being that receptivity, being in the flow, and the masculine having that engagement. And we'll be looking at all of this more deeply as we get into the money archetypes. I just want to share my screen for a second here. And so I like to work with a love paradigm for change. Self-care is the foundation of work that I do with people in my community. And from this place of self-care, we get that feeling of self-worth, or an actual experience of self-worth, and also self-love. And these three can really play into each other. And I also want to bring in that it can affect our net worth. And that's why I really love to have this as the foundation, so that we can come from that place of love and be open to expanding, taking up more space in the world. So, like Jessica said, I really want to honor you all for being here and being willing to make shifts in your money relationship. It's so powerful. And I am going to just change my view here, so that actually I'm going to ask Jessica, would you mind taking me off the pin so that I can see everyone? Thank you so much. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, it's wonderful to see you all. Oops, that's the wrong thing. Excuse me while I just grab my notes here for a second. And I'm truly, truly honored that you're taking this time and to have your trust for this time that we're together. So I'm going to share my screen once again here and share with you my this is my framework for how I work with women. I mentioned the self-care piece. And the next piece is healing the past, healing our relationship with money by looking at our money history. And having that insight into our parents' patterns is really, really powerful. And then knowing the money archetypes that are running in your life at any given time, looking at your purpose in life as a driving force for how you're interacting with money, paying mindful attention through tracking and just being in engagement with your numbers, and then having a vision, and we use active intention, present tense intentions to manifest that vision. Today, we're going to be mostly focusing on knowing your money types. And before we dive into that anymore, I want to invite us to settle in for a moment. So find yourself a comfortable seat here and become aware of your physicality, letting your body surrender to gravity. Being aware of any tension in the body, and through your attention to those areas, see if you can let it unwind. Beautiful. And then noticing your emotional state right now, what's happening in your heart. What are you feeling? And then bringing awareness to the mind, noticing what thoughts are passing through the mind, and see if you can let the thoughts be in the background for a moment. Bringing your awareness back to any sensations in the body. And now taking a nice full inhale and a long exhale. Maybe opening your mouth on the exhale, letting it be a little longer than the inhale. Take a few breaths like that to really calm the nervous system. I always bring in nervous system tools when we're working with these money issues so that you can be receptive. And now I invite you to get in touch with your relationship with money, just feeling into your relationship with money, maybe seeing yourself through your days and how you interact with it and how you feel. Maybe an incident recently triggered you. Just being present to whatever's there without judging. Noticing how close you want to be to money, whether you feel a little graspy around it or avoidant. And now imagine yourself on the other side of any challenges. What would that feel like? Allowing that frequency in this moment. As much as you're able to. Again, no judgment. And when you feel ready, take a nice deep breath, be aware of the room around you. And if you'd like to share in the chat any insight that you got from that very short exploration, we'll just take a moment. Jessica can absolutely see the correlation of self-care and making wiser money decisions. I seem to make better decisions all around when I'm in deep self-care practices, and you are such a queen about that, Jessica, and you teach all of us about that. Beautiful. Efrat felt lots of fear and grasping. Scarcity versus freedom, Rosie. Yes. Well, feel free to continue to add to those. Doing taxes today. Read a few more here. On the other side of my money challenges. Let's see, where did that go? It was hard to expand into abundance. Yeah, because I'm used to bracing for security. Thank you, everyone, so much for your vulnerable responses. I really, really appreciate your bringing that into the space so that everyone can feel safe. So these money patterns are hardwired from our childhood. And that's why it's so hard to change. And they can be hiding in the shadows, which is where this topic came from. It actually came from one of Jessica's money circles, where I was asking, what would a good focus for today be? And
is this the little baby fish?
is that a little person? So when we have so much talent, so many gifts, there still may be these places that are hard to grasp, hard to see, which is the gift of the money archetypes. So we look at our parents' patterns, and that awareness alone can start the ball rolling on transformation, uncovering our unconscious beliefs.
Oh, shoot. Susan, you got muted. I'm so sorry. I was trying to mute everyone and I accidentally muted you too.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
Apologies.
No problem. No problem. So money and the brain, it's all happening in the brain. So when we're, for example, maybe overspending, there are dopamine chemicals, feel-good chemicals, right? And when we're stressed, there's the cortisol that can become very addictive. So we want to make sure, because cortisol, if we're running it all the time, can impede our ability to produce serotonin. And we need that serotonin to feel balanced. So bringing in all of our practices that we know to do is super helpful. And also, if we're still being run by some of these money archetypes, then it can be challenging to change. So just take a moment to go inside. We'll take a quick moment here and think about a memory from your childhood that most impacted your relationship with money. And think about one money belief or behavior that you inherited from an important adult in your childhood. So you can see how powerful that is to just start to unravel at a deeper level our childhood experiences. And then as we progress in this work, we can really start to detach from what's not ours and start to embrace new ways of being. So we'll dive right in here to the money archetypes, and the 8 money archetypes that Deborah Price has identified came from her many years as a financial advisor. And no one at that time, this was like 25 years ago, was dealing with the emotional behavioral side. It's more common now that financial advisors at least take one course on that. But back then, she was not only a serious minority in the business, but also a minority in looking at this side of things. It is so crucial for people to be able to succeed financially and feel good with wherever they are. So we have the innocent, the victim, the martyr, the fool, the creator artist, the tyrant, the warrior, and the magician. And you can sense that they really point straight into emotional content that can be so helpful to uncover. Here is our innocent who has her head in the sand, and she's trusting in a way that can be detrimental. So she's prepared to turn it all over to someone else and not really know what's going on. That can be very detrimental if you're in a relationship and one person isn't involved. I always recommend for couples that you have regular money meetings together and share the responsibilities as much as possible. The fear and anxiety is, especially the anxiety, is a hallmark of the innocent, that engaging with money just brings up a lot of anxiety. There can be financial dependence. It's hard to confront people, like even maybe in how much you're charging or how much you're getting paid. It could be terrifying to ask for a raise or raise your rates. There can be a feeling of powerlessness. And the innocent might not be in touch with their feelings and beliefs. So the antidote for the innocent is to take baby steps. One practice that's really helpful is a mindful money practice where you go into your bank account a few minutes every day so that you're just looking at things, and that can help build your confidence. And my dear friend Katie, who's been with me as a client for a few years, completely healed her old wounds. And she started out being so anxious that when she was in a checkout line, she would have an anxiety attack. She was able to fulfill her vision of buying her own home and taking all those steps to get the loan and look at places. And she's now tracking everything and paying attention to all the different pockets of savings. She's really become quite a money warrior, which we'll learn about shortly. The money victim, tender place, the child in us who really got hurt. And the response to that becomes blaming outside circumstances. And you can see how doing that sets our sense of empowerment off balance. So I think all of us can get into this a little bit now and then, and it's really important to recognize when it comes up so that we can give ourselves that tenderness and care and hear whatever anger or powerlessness we're feeling at the time. And the antidote to the victim is forgiveness and also gratitude. I love using the Ho'oponopono prayer. You might be familiar with it. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Very powerful prayer for releasing resentment around money. Oftentimes I hear people say, my parents never taught me anything about money. Well, if we have a tendency toward innocent or victim because of our childhood experience, we probably wouldn't have been open to learning about it. And we can always learn about money at any time we choose in our adult lives. So pulling back our power from those kinds of beliefs and thoughts is really important. Marina, who was able to free up so much energy by looking at her money and started tracking without resistance. she had made some mistakes and she was able to let go of blaming herself for those. She also had a difficult situation where she was taken out of an inheritance that she really needed. And so stuff happens, money does come and go, and we have to find a way to feel a sense of security regardless. So she was really able to move out of that victim place. Here's our beautiful warrior who is driven and competitive. This is where the discipline around money comes in. I don't encourage us to be driven around money, but we do need to be energized and have our will pointed in the direction of making money, along with the allowing piece. So this may be a place where sometimes people fall short. Is like I was sharing earlier, last year, I went through a phase where I wasn't really motivated or energized around making money. I wasn't super intentional about it. If we're driven, we can burn ourselves out, and that can be the warrior in overdrive. As we bring this discipline in, then there starts to be that balance of the masculine and the feminine. The confidence is what I really wish for everyone to have, that you know what you have, you know what you need, you're able to set money aside with a lot of intentionality. And the rescuer of the warrior is a healthy rescue, where we'll get into another money archetype where it can be less healthy. But, when we have abundance, we're able to take care of other people when it's needed and when it feels aligned. And that's a really beautiful thing. The warrioress mindset, moving from a spending mentality to a saving mentality, moving from a scarcity mindset to an investment or passive income mindset, and also to a giving mindset within those boundaries of discernment. So this is a spreadsheet that I use. It's a great place to start to track 3 months of your spending and income, to know where any debt balances are, to have a savings plan, and making sure that we have a prudent reserve or emergency fund, and then pockets for those kinds of things that come up occasionally. I like to keep those separate. I have an area for automobile, home expenses, health, things that, we may have big expenses for occasionally that we aren't planning for. So this is a way that you can avoid using credit cards. Tomorrow in my program, we're going to dive into the whole credit card thing. Wherever possible, to avoid using credit cards is energetically really great. But if you do have debt, to have clarity on it and to have a plan for paying it off. So knowing what you're spending in each category so that you can really be at choice with how you're using your money. You may find when you see 3 months and then look at the average that everything's in alignment. Or you may find that, I haven't bought clothes for myself in 6 months, or I haven't been going on vacations. I need to plan for more for those things. Or you may find that a lot of times people notice things like, coffee out. And it may be that you make a conscious choice to do that less and have your coffee at home. It's very individual and there's no judgment. Everyone has, this plan is your plan based on your values and your needs. Beautiful Emily says this program has given me more value than I expected. And she knew that she was going to grow to feel more competent, but she didn't realize the magnitude of transformation. And so that program is called the Money Transformation Program. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier. Money is such a vehicle for transformation. It's really powerful when we come into a sacred space to work on these issues. Jesse Owens says we all have dreams. In order to make our dreams come into reality, it takes an awful lot of determination, dedication, self-discipline, and effort. And that's our warrior. Now we have the martyr who is self-sacrificing. That's the main dynamic with the martyr. It can happen easily with clients, with children. If you're living in an area where there's an expectation of how kids, the kinds of things kids get to have, I guess you could say, like where Jessica and I live, there can be a lot of high expectation. And so that can get us into a martyr place with spending. But it's tricky, I don't judge parents for their decisions. It's very personal. And so what the martyr really needs to know, and this can happen in some cultures too, where there's an expectation that if you are making good money, you're going to be taking care of family members. And it's so tricky to pull back from that very strong expectation. So the martyr needs to know her boundaries. What really feels true and right for me around helping others with my time, with my money, with my energy. The other side of the martyr is that the giving can have strings attached. So when we're in this martyr dynamic, you'll start to notice resentment coming up. That is a sign that the martyr is, quote, in the room. So being careful about that. And I just want to pause here for a second because we've been looking at the screen for a while. Anybody have any questions at this point? You can just unmute yourself and chime in. I'm going to check the time here. Okay, we're getting close. All right. Well, let's just take a deep breath. Whew. How do you heal the martyr? You heal the martyr, hi Jeannie, through knowing your boundaries. The martyr probably sometime in childhood got the message that the way to survive was to take care of other people's needs. And so knowing, yes, there's a quiz, which I am going to have everyone take momentarily. All right, I'm going to go back to our presentation here. So the fool is the risk taker. This is where we can get into some overspending because it's live for the moment. And there's a lack of discipline there. It can also get into credit card debt this way. So the antidote for the fool is to take a pause before making purchases, especially large purchases, and talk to someone so you're not in it alone. The creator artist, many of us have this. This is what was up for me last year, was just wanting to do the things I'm passionate about. I mean, I am passionate about my work, absolutely, but being less money motivated. The creator artist is not money motivated. And so we don't want the creator artist to be in charge of our money. There is a passiveness around money and detachment as opposed to unattachment. We want to not be attached to the results financially, but we don't want to be detached from money. We want to have a relationship that is intimate with money. And some of the creator artist is really important to have. The creator artist helps us stay in alignment with our values and our purpose. The creator artist just needs to know that our spiritual side, our purpose, can also coexist with being engaged and being, having some semblance of materialism, like paying attention to our material life as well. The tyrant is that part of us that some people described in the chat, just holding on, fearful, afraid of not having enough or of losing it. And for the tyrant, there is never enough money to feel secure. Well, our security doesn't come from money, even though, yes, there can be a relaxation. I'm not going to deny that there can be a relaxation when we have money, when we have savings, when we're taking up more space. There is a feeling of expansion. But ultimately, our true security comes from our spiritual connection. And so anytime we're giving it to money, we're losing our power, actually. So the tyrant really needs to cultivate that spiritual connection as the source of security with money. And I'm just going to move a little more quickly here so we have time to take the quiz. Here's our beautiful magician. This is the goddess Lakshmi from the Indian traditions. She is worshipped in many homes in India and considered a friend or a family member for a lot of people. And she brings that sense of innate trust that regardless of where our money is, we are connected. We can have contentment no matter where our money is. And she is unattached and open to flow. So I'm going to invite you to take the money type quiz, and I will put that link in the chat right now. Looking past my microphone here. Okay. 1 second. Uh-oh. Okay. I need to, my apologies here. I somehow lost that when I copied my links, so I have to find it now. Oh, here we go. Thank you for your patience. Okay. Everybody. So there's the link to the money type quiz, and you will be added to my list. I just full disclosure on that. And you're always welcome to unsubscribe if it doesn't align for you. But I know you're curious now about where your money types fall. So we'll just take a few minutes to can't unmute themselves, but have typed into the chat. Okay, let me see. Okay, so we have some questions in the chat that I'll answer while you're doing that. Let me take a look. Debbie says, I could have used this when I was on welfare 13 years raising my kids. Totally. Thank you, Debbie. Sophie has a question. Maybe she can be unmuted.
She typed hers into the chat.
Oh, there it is. Are there hybrids of archetypes? Yes. So nobody is one archetype. I think this is what you're asking, Sophie. So everybody has a combination. It's very nuanced and they interact with each other. You know, when we start to get activated in one archetype, it can lead to another. And yeah, does that answer your question? Oh, and somebody else asked a similar question. Do you lean toward one or several? And let's see. Yeah, Teresa answered she got a mix of 2 types. And usually people have a little bit in most of them. So did anyone get your results yet? Are people being able to get to the quiz? Yeah, okay, great. And then you'll see it up on the screen once you hit submit. So you have to make sure you hit submit. And then it will show up in your inbox as well. Okay, waiting for the quiz to come through. Efrat, 50% innocent, active, 25% warrior, passive, martyr, 25, no fool. So you have the innocent running the show there, Efrat, which would lead to anxiety. Kristen also has the innocent in the lead. Yeah. And let's see what else you've got here. So Kristen, you have the opportunity to grow your warrior and to help that fool to relax. So that's part of the nervous system too, because, you know, the fool spends impulsively, and like any addictive pattern, if we are centered and relaxed and not in fight or flight, we can find healthy ways to nourish ourselves. And that's really another part of what the fool needs, is to find alternatives to spending and to be able to make more conscious choices. And let me tell you, when you see that you've been spending, one client found out that she was spending a lot of money on gaming every month. Like, I think it was like $700 one month, which for her was a lot. And that really instantly shifted that pattern for her. I think sometimes people are afraid to discover what they're going to find. Kristen. Mab, sorry you were not able to get into that website. You might try again in a couple minutes. Debbie's got the magician going on. Good, good. So with respect to kind of the hierarchy, I guess you could say, of the archetypes, we want the money warrior to be in charge of our financial decisions. And to have the magician and the creator artist's vision, the creator artist's vision and values to be feeding into those decisions, and the magician's intuition. So your spiritual practices are what keep you connected to, you know, what's in alignment. And that's why with tracking and anytime we're engaging with money, I always make a ritual out of it. I pause and get quiet, ask for guidance, invite guides in, and calm the nervous system so that when we're engaging with money, it can be a sacred activity. And even paying bills, to bring gratitude to those people or entities that we're paying, to bring gratitude for being able to pay, I can really shift things. Okay, interesting. Okay, so it looks like the quiz page, for some reason, maybe it got overloaded. Well, I invite you to keep that link, and you're welcome to take the quiz later if it's not working now. Sorry about that. So the magician warrior is in the 90%. Well, that's really great. when you've got that going. And as long as you have the creator artist holding a vision for you, sometimes people are super strong with their warrior. And there hasn't been the space to dream, to vision, to get in touch with our heart. If people have a lot of responsibility, there was a woman who came to one of my events who had been taking care of her mother, and then her mother passed. And she was the warrior in the family. She had been holding that whole financial thing. So there really wasn't the space for her to know what she really wanted and to be able to really claim that for herself. All right. Well, I'd like to take a couple minutes. Oh, actually, I am going to share with you a special opportunity. Before I do that, just a second here. I want to talk for a minute about Harriet Tubman. She's really grown in my heart recently a lot, because a woman I've been following for a number of years, Spring Washam, just published a new book called The Spirit of Harriet Tubman, where she actually was visited by Harriet and guided to have sessions where she dictated her messages. And it's so, so powerful. And I spent a weekend with Spring all about this. Harriet is this beautiful combination of warrior, magician, creator, artist. She was completely guided by spirit. What I'd learned is that she was a bodhisattva, which is a Buddhist term for a being who comes to achieve a specific thing for the world. So Harriet came to free the slaves or enslaved people. And she was able to follow her source moment to moment. And she had that vision that she never let go of. So, so powerful. The book is amazing. Spring Washam. I recommend everybody check it out. Cher was able to get clear on her purpose, and she was able to let herself focus on her creative projects. She's a children's book writer. Before that, she really felt guilty about spending time on that, and she didn't need to go out and get work or build a business, really. So she was able to really focus on her purpose. Oprah Winfrey says, "When I look at the future, it's so bright, it burns my eyes." I have a very special invitation for you to join me in the Spring Money Wisdom Retreat, Love Yourself to True Wealth. And that's coming up in the next few weeks. You'll have the opportunity to give yourself the attention, the rest, the reset that you might be craving, and experience deep relaxation where you'll be able to really easily love yourself into expressing your abundance vision. And you'll go deeper into these money archetypes. I'll be giving people personalized feedback and coaching on their money archetypes. And we'll have divine feminine ritual with the goddess Lakshmi to let go of pressure and stress and to move into more of that experience of ease with your money. I invite you to join me in sacred space to open your prosperity portal through heart-opening rituals. And I will also offer a live violin sound healing. As we heal our relationship to wealth, we help shift our culture to one of generosity and trust. So I invite you to join me for this journey. In person, it will be in Richmond at a beautiful studio there, yoga studio, on Saturday, March 25th. And I'll be offering it again online on Friday, the 31st of March. And you get to choose your pricing. If you're a benefactor, you're helping to pay for people who can't afford it or perhaps contribute to BIPOC reparations. So choosing your price. And I'm going to get that link for you. Right now. I really think it's going to be, well, I know I love creating ritual space with women. I'm totally in my element there. It's just so juicy. I love what comes through, and I love just being in that flow of energy. And I love bringing money into it. It's so powerful. I also want to share that I have a membership. It's called the Money Wisdom Circle membership. I'm not going to go into detail with that today, but if you want more information on that membership, you can put a note in the chat with that word membership and your email, and I'll reach out to you. So we're getting to the closing moments of our time together. Let's take a minute to drop in once more to just integrate this beautiful time we've had, letting the body settle and noticing where your nervous system is now. And then I invite you to bring in the energy of Lakshmi into your space. You might see her in front of you. You might open your hands up to the sky to receive her divine love, her divine blessings for abundance. Breathing that in. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. Thank you so much for your beautiful presence today. I'm so grateful. And I can stick around for any questions you might have for a couple minutes, if that's okay with Jessica.
Absolutely. I will take in a moment, make it so that participants can unmute themselves. And for those of you that want to stay for a little impromptu Q&A, thank you so much, Susan. And you'll notice too, one thing I noticed when I was filling out the quiz, and that was a lot of fun because I hadn't filled out your quiz yet, Susan. So I was doing it in the moment with everybody. And I noticed that at the bottom of the quiz, there's a little check mark that women can choose if they want a consult with you as well. So for the women that checked that, you'll also be hearing from Susan with her consult. We'll also send a follow-up email with a link to the quiz if you want to kind of go back and take it again, or if you weren't able to access it, and the link to the retreat as well. But you can just grab that from the chat, and seeing lots of wonderful messages about the membership come in, Susan. So I'm excited for you with that. And just, yeah, Susan's incredible. So many women in the community have benefited from her wisdom. And so please do connect with her in any way. And before we open it up for the impromptu Q&A, I'll also name that this event is part of a series where nearly every month in 2023, moving into 2024, we'll be hosting Susan again and other money experts, investment experts, bookkeeper, accountants, women who have expertise in the practical and also the inner and emotional aspects of money and money habits. So please stay tuned, and I'll send you an email in the next couple of days with just like, here's what's coming down the pike. So you can put in your to-do notes to check your inbox for that and for your email from Susan.
And I want to put in a plug for Jessica's incredible Rise Sisterhood. If you have a business and you want support around your business, I've gotten so much from working with her and from the community.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, Susan, I just set it up so that women can actually unmute themselves. And I did see a question that came through a little bit earlier. Erica had asked, when taking the quiz, do we kind of do it from our current self, or do we do it in kind of witness to our past self?
That's a good question. You want to do it from your current self, because the purpose of the quiz is to understand what you still need to work on, what you still want to change.
Wonderful. Well, I think we can, first of all, I will also name that I know that some of you need to take off. So if you need to go dance into your day, please do. But I really appreciate, Susan, that you've decided to stay on for a few minutes with us. So I'll go ahead and end the recording. Thank you so much for being here. We'll be in touch. Have a beautiful, nourishing, restful day. And thank you, Susan, so much.